Vancouver, as the city continues to struggle with housing affordability. The latest report on urban development says that more density, if done right, could lead to greater returns on investment for developers. But one real estate expert from the University of British Columbia says attracting more investors is of little benefit if local residents can't afford to live in the city. Vancouver's downtown skyline is seen from Stanley Park. "We don't seem to be doing a very good job on affordability, full stop," says TSUR Somerville, a professor at UBC's Sater School of Business. Jennifer Gauthier, for Star Metro. The Urban Land Institute, a real estate think tank, released a report Monday suggesting there is a positive correlation between what it calls good density and benefits for urban residents, governments, and investors. One of the positive outcomes might be higher and more stable returns on real estate investment, thereby providing an incentive for property developers and owners to work with governments and other urban stakeholders towards a shared vision for a city, the report reads. The report's authors define good density as development that includes mixed-use buildings, public green spaces, and strong alternatives to car use. Article continued below. Vancouver, with more than 230 parks and a rapidly expanding bike network, appears to meet several of those factors. But while those things might be attractive to developers, as the report suggests, they have not made the city more affordable for residents. "It's an important aspect that is missing in the report," said TSUR Somerville, a professor at UBC's Sater School of Business who studies real estate investment. "A city that attracts developers and investors can't be considered livable if local incomes don't keep up with housing prices," he said. "We don't seem to be doing a very good job on affordability, full stop. Solving that problem means building more supply, and the right kind of supply," he said. Read more. Vancouver wants single-family neighborhoods to make room for more people. Article continued. Bella all-inclusive dog resort in Olympic Village raises eyebrows as Vancouver's gap between rich and poor grows. It's just beyond imaginable. Death at Tim Hortons exposes lack of resources for vulnerable people. Vancouver needs a wider range of housing developments that includes purpose-built rentals for families and units for lower-income households, he said. Higher levels of government also need to invest more into public transit, in order to convince people to leave their cars behind, he added. There have been significant improvements in recent years. The Broadway subway line is on its way to being built, and in 2017 in Vancouver approved permits for 1,702 units of social or supportive housing, 822 purpose-built rental units, and 591 rental laneway homes. And yet, Vancouver has a ways to go if it wants to become an attractive yet affordable city like Vienna or Copenhagen, said Somerville. Many European cities are dense cities, compact cities, with significant public infrastructure and less of a car-centric way of living, he explained. Meanwhile, about 80% of Vancouver's land is still reserved for single detached houses, and people are buying more cars per capita in BC than ever before. At the same time, complaints about Airbnb eating up long-term rental supply and foreign investment artificially propping up housing prices have policymakers eyeing the balance between tourism and affordability, said Somerville. It's tricky because part of being a tourist city is having options for people who might want to visit here or want to own something. Ultimately, Vancouver needs to do more of what it is already doing, he said, increasing urban amenities while building more affordable housing options. It's not like we aren't doing individual things that are good, we're just not doing enough of it. Wanya Lee is a Vancouver-based reporter covering urban affairs and new technology. Follow her on Twitter, @WanyaLi.